Alex Martin on Facebook. How significant are the local elections as a test for reform? I'd say two things about this. One, I think it's interesting that reform's poll rating has now been very consistent at 24, 25% for really quite a long time. And if I was the Tory party, I would be beginning to get worried that there is a possibility that reform is going to possibly supplant them as the main opposition party. I always think that's an exaggerated possibility, but certainly to split the vote so badly that it becomes very, very difficult for the Tories to win an election. All that said, the only thing I would say about local elections, having covered many of them as Robert has, is that they're notoriously not a very good test of what's going to happen in a general election, which of course is still many years away. Robert?
This is an opportunity for people to make a protest vote. It would be surprising if reform didn't do pretty well, particularly since these are local elections where the comparator year was a year in which the Tories did pretty well, and also for a variety of sort of semi-accidental reasons. Actually, there are not many parts of the country being contested where Labour is traditionally strong, so pretty much all the focus will be on how well reform does relative to the Tories. And right now it looks as though the Tories are likely to be quite close to humiliated and reform do quite well. However, we are years away from a general election. I mean, Kemi Badenoch, if that does happen, will be under a bit of pressure from her own party. I think they'd be mad to dump her at this juncture because we're still quite a long way from a general election and she's got to be given a bit more time to be tested. I think, weirdly, there is a potential silver lining both for the Tories and for Labour if reform pick up a lot of seats, because this will be an opportunity for them, for all of us, to assess whether they're competent or not, right? If reform wins a load of seats and it turns out that their councillors are absolutely useless, that would be the best possible evidence for the Tories that voters should come back to them. So, you know, Farage not only has to win in respect of, you know, just essentially being a great campaigner, he's got to turn, you know, this is the first time in his career where he's got to actually turn his army of supporters and anybody who gets elected into something that looks credible as, you know, a party of government. And the first test will be whether they look credible in local government.